What's up, everybody?
Hi, I'm Scarlett.
I'm Christina.
Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about the profound impact media, specifically tabloids and blogs, had on hurting young women in the 2000s.
The topic has come to people's attention again, in part because of the Free Britney movement, and recently because of the release of the New York Times Framing Britney Spears documentary. So, we decided to do a series about so-called media darlings and how they've had to face the brunt of abuse and patriarchal values for decades.
In the first video of this series, we're going to talk about sex and the obsession with whether or not young women in the 2000s were having it. Because it's clear women were disproportionately affected and held to unbelievable standards.
Throughout history, women have always existed to please those around them, and it's evident even in the cliches we use to describe them.
So, what do we mean by the all-American girl? Merriam-Webster defines all-American as representative or typical of the U.S. or its ideals.
Its ideals. The Urban Dictionary definition is a girl who tries her best in all aspects of her life, is a great supporting girlfriend, and wife for her man. Blonde, blue-eyed, long hair, gorgeous, cute, sexy, and caring always. The all-American girl is what every man wants.
Physically, these girls are usually skinny,
Blonde,
blue-eyed,
easygoing,
and the picture of innocence. They shouldn't be seen drinking, excessively partying, or cursing, at least publicly. Women were asked extremely invasive questions about their bodies and sexuality all the time. It wasn't uncommon for interviewers to ask about what someone was wearing, whether or not they've had plastic surgery.
Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
My breasts.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject. Okay, in general, what do you think about breast implants? Just in general.
Well, I think if that's what you want to do and that would make you happy, then I see nothing wrong with it. But I haven't done that. But I think it's sad that people, think I've done that because that makes them want to go out. And, some of the fans that look up to me, they either think bad of me or they may want to go out and do that.
Or whether they've gained or lost weight.
Yeah. And I don't even think I'm 5'1", so.
Okay. I know there's a new rumor that's recently surfaced, has really upset you, right? The one about eating.
Yeah, people are going to write what they want to write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just kind of comes with the territory. Either you're too fat, you're too skinny, and people are just going to write what they
What size are you, by the way?
Size?
Yeah, I always like to know.
I'm really sure.
You're not sure?
Girls, and
that's so interesting.
And that behavior was normalized to the point that these interviewers would go on to have normal careers while taking a toll on these women who at the time were teenagers.
Or barely older than teenagers.
I can't think of a time where an interviewer asked a man what size he was or how big his butt was. And sometimes you can see that these girls were trying really hard to keep their composure, but other times you would see that they weren't processing what was being asked of them.
Mm-hmm. Or they didn't see it, they didn't see anything wrong with what was happening.
And that's kind of a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
To keep yourself from actually feeling uncomfortable or when you're in a stressed situation.
Yeah.
You just kind of don't process what's going on.
For sure.
And also, to add on to that, sometimes these girls were there to promote new music, new movies, a new album, completely unrelated to all these questions they were being asked.
And what's worse is that these interviewers probably thought what they were doing is okay because of the content these women were putting out or the personas they kind of adopted in the public eye.
Well, this entire time I have been playing a character, so the world has never really truly known who I am. And the real me is actually someone who is brilliant. And I'm not a dumb blonde. I'm just really good at pretending to be one.
When I heard that, I was like, wow, is she a genius or is this
really messed up?
therapy needing.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It's just really sad to me that she's had to put up a voice
Yeah.
that isn't necessarily hers to kind of like play up to the image that people have of her.
100%. And I saw her documentary, and she's been through so many different things in her personal life with her parents and things like that. And I can kind of also relate this to just being a shield.
It's kind of a coping mechanism.
Yeah, like no one's getting to know the real me because I've been hurt so many times by even my parents that no, you're gonna know this Paris Hilton. And that's it. No one's gonna come inside.
Because she was exploited by basically everyone, especially the media.
Yeah.
Kind of along the same vein of the media taking advantage of Paris's persona to just go crazy with the suggestions about her. They also do this with music videos and music lyrics. And I just don't think that's okay.
The poker face directed by Ray Kay has a strong sexual undertone. How important in your artistry is that, is sexuality?
It's as important to me as it is to you. Isn't sex important to everyone?
A woman's sexual expression, whether that be in music videos or her music, doesn't give you the right to just go in on her body or talk about her body.
Being inappropriate.
When someone makes content, it's them choosing what they want the world to see.
Exactly. So leave it at that.
Exactly.
Don't pry to want to know more. They don't owe you.
They don't owe you anything.
Anything. And sometimes, because of what they would put in their music or their videos, they wouldn't even be considered under the all-American girl because it was too weird or too, I guess, raunchy for that title. So it's like, you don't even qualify. We're not even going to classify you as this. You're just other, basically.
But we're still going to be incredibly disrespectful to you and your life.
Yeah. And it's okay because you talk about it, so we can too.
This time is also interesting because the internet started taking a new shape. People started gaining more access to cameras, digital cameras, and camera phones. And so they were creating more content. The issue with that was that sometimes that content was meant for a single person and it ended up being leaked to the entire world.
Yeah, I remember nudes and sex tapes were leaked almost a scary amount of times in the 2000s. Sometimes they were leaked by vengeful exes, sometimes by an anonymous source. Either way, the tabloids ate that up. People gladly stripped the all-American girls from their titles the minute even a rumor about a sex tape started. Because girls are supposed to be sexy, but you're not allowed to have sex.
It's about exercising almost like control over a person. It's the idea that if a woman is with you and she shares these images, it's okay, or she makes a sex tape, it's okay. But the minute she leaves the relationship, you decide to stroke your ego by leaking the sex tape and then damaging her reputation.
Yep. Yeah, and that can really ruin a woman's life. Although people like Kim Kardashian were able to build a successful career out of it, she was viewed as a sex icon from that moment, even till today.
And she didn't have a choice in the matter.
That wasn't her choice.
It's just crazy how, like, a woman's body was almost used like a weapon. Sexual exposure could, like, mildly wound someone's career, like it did Kim's, or, like, severely wound it, or even kill it.
We'd consider the case of Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake a severe wound. Sometimes you don't have to leak sex tapes or nudes. Sometimes you just have to be completely oblivious to what's respectful and what's not. Yeah. And rip off your stage partner's clothing, show their nipple, because it goes with the lyrics to your song.
What makes it even worse is that she apologized. I think, like, she had to apologize twice for it. And Justin has the luxury of just, like, making jokes about it.
It's very sad to see white men be able to use the excuse of young age, oh, I was young, I didn't know what I was doing, while they ravage through the world, destroying everything in their path, and everyone else has to pay the consequences. Yeah. They get put in these spaces that uplift their careers when what they did should be labeled as a crime.
Another phenomenon that has been happening forever, but has only recently gained mainstream attention because of the Time's Up and the Me Too movement, is how producers and directors and men like Justin feel like they have the right to everything and everyone around them, specifically the women they work with.
Men like Harvey Weinstein, Dr. Luke, and even the One Tree Hill producer Mark Schwann, etc., have notoriously used their positions of power to take advantage of the women around them.
And what's funny, and by funny I mean obviously extremely infuriating, not funny at all, is that when these women are coerced into a sexual situation or they're assaulted, people often accuse them of sleeping with their superiors to get ahead. And that's often why they unfortunately choose to stay silent.
Yeah, that and the fact that if they do speak out, they may get shut out of this industry that they've worked so hard to get into. Or they get accused of making these accusations to get ahead.
In statements to ABC News, an attorney for Weinstein said that Rose McGowan is looking to promote her new book. And in doing so, she tries to smear Mr. Weinstein with a bold lie.
And these men know this, and that's why they continue to do it.
Women and young girls were and still are pressured into fitting into that typical all-American girl body type. So what that is someone who's young, innocent looking, somewhat virginal, and skinny. As women get older, their bodies change. As women have babies, their bodies change. And genetics and hormones also have a huge role in what someone looks like, and that may change over time. So you cannot be expected to look the same as you did when you were a teenager.
Your whole life. Your whole life. So for many, this is dangerous. For some, it's unachievable. And for others, it's mentally and emotionally draining. Yet knowing all of this, so many celebrities like Jessica Simpson, Tyra Banks, Raven-Symoné, Demi Lovato, and many others have been bullied into keeping this ideal body image and into losing weight. And then we have this fun little game where we compare women to each other constantly.
Literally, in my research for this video, I came across so many videos where interviewers would literally compare celebrities to other female celebrities to their face.
In the moment. What? And it goes from who wore it best to who looks better than this person
to comparing exes to current girlfriends.
Ridiculous.
It's scary to kind of confront the fact that these tabloids and these tabloid-obsessed people built these women up just to tear them down. And the extreme stress and the standards they had to live up to eventually led to quite a few mental breakdowns that still have an effect on their lives today.
We need to realize the damage that we're doing to girls. And we need to get rid of this all-American girl concept that only exists to please men and doesn't really include
most people.
Yeah, different women of different races and body shapes.
Yeah.
So as more of these girls start to speak out on their experiences of the 2000s and tabloids and media, I hope that we really come to the realization, wow, that was wrong.
And we move forward and try to do better.
Alright, so that's all we have for you guys this week.
Remember to like this video if you liked it, subscribe down below, and hit the bell notification button if you want to be reminded when we post future videos.
Follow us on Instagram. We link it down below, and it is on the screen. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.